Since its release earlier this year, the Xiaomi SU7 or SU7 as they call it here in mainland China had a lot of controversy, maybe because it is the first phone manufacturer that made a car, or maybe because people were expecting Apple or other brands, bigger brands to make a car, and Xiaomi did it first. And also the controversy was about the quality build of this car, where people are complaining about the quality and everything. But we are not here to talk about that. Xiaomi decided to make this car. A lot of people claim this is a copy of a Taycan, a Porsche Taycan, which in some sort it is. It looks like a Porsche Taycan, but it's not entirely the same. But in today's video, we're not gonna talk about all that. In today's video, we're gonna be doing our tests, regular tests. I'm gonna show you around the car and do the range test, as well as the 0 to 100, and probably we're gonna take this car to a racing track to do some performance tests as well. My name is Marco and you're watching EV Exposed. So the Xiaomi SU7 comes in 3 trims, and the one we have today here is the base trim, which is rear-wheel drive. This car comes with a single motor, which is mounted to the rear wheels, and a battery capacity of 73 kilowatt hour. The claimed range on this particular car is around 650 kilometers CLTC, and the 0 to 100 is 5.38 seconds, which we will test later in the video. Starting from the front of the car, as you can see here, the design of this car is very aerodynamic. See the nose here is very low here. That's what's give it maybe, this car is very efficient, or as they claimed, we're gonna test that later. And this is where actually the front of the car, where the controversy is coming, that this car looks like a Porsche Taycan. And also what we see here is the mount of the suspension here. It's higher than the bonnet. This is very typical on a sports car like Porsche and other sports cars as well. We have very distinctive headlights here, and we have massive air intakes here for cooling. Moving to the side of the car, as you can see, this car measures around 5 meters long. It's a little bit less than 5 meters, but it's a very long car, so it's not a small car either. In terms of width, this car from mirror to mirror, it's around 2 meters, and the wheelbase is 3 meters. In terms of height, actually, because it's a sports car, so it's, as you can see, it's sitting really low, and it's around 1.5 meters high. This particular model comes with a 19-inch wheels. This has Michelin tires, 245 width. Still on side here, the other very distinctive thing on the car is this pressure release. So this is actually very functional. So there is air. This is for releasing the pressure on the wheel well, so it doesn't create lift, and so that the car will sit on the ground and you will have less drag. So this is very functional, and this is one of the distinctive designs on this car. In terms of cargo, this car, the booth on this car is not small, but it's not on the large size. Actually, in terms of cargo, it's around 600 liters of cargo, but the problem is because it's very narrow, so you cannot fit large stuff here in the back, but it's very deep. And also this car actually has a front booth that can also hold cargo. It's not a huge, but it's around 105 liters of cargo space here in the front, which is very generous. And there's also something very distinctive here. We can see here this car has a plate. So this is the electric motor, RPM, and this is the power. So this car has 220 kilowatt power and 400 Newton meters of torque. So we're talking around less than 300 horsepower. All right, moving to the inside. Before we move to the inside, actually, I think the design of this, door handle is really good. So it doesn't have to pop up in and out, but as it's electronically released. But as soon as you put your hand here, the door will open. So basically, the doors are frameless. The rear and the front doors are frameless. So the first thing you notice when you sit inside the car is that your sitting position is really low compared to other electric cars. Your sitting actually really low, and I like this is a very sporty sitting position. And the other thing is the steering wheel actually is it's not a big size, and it's not small either. So it has a flat bottom, but a normal steering wheel on the top here. Right, so talking about the steering wheel, like I said, this is a very, very small steering wheel. It's flat at the bottom, and it's, circle on the top. And we don't have a lot of buttons actually here on the steering wheel, which is really good. Well, we have the driving selecting mode here. And actually, if you push the button here, it will give you a 30-second maximum power. And this side, we have another one. This is for, adaptive cruise control as well as autonomous driving. And behind actually the steering wheel, what we have here, this is one of the quirks of this car. It has a flipping screen here. So if I push start, as you can see, the screen will flip, and it will show a small display here, which will show you, your gear position, as well as other information while you're driving. And actually, the gear selector lever is on this side, which is really good. So which leaves you with one stock on one side for your your wipers as well as your lights. And also the sitting position is really good. Like when you're driving on a highway, like this is my driving position. You can see my elbow is reaching here, and the other hand here on my my left hand is also sitting right here on the armrest here on the door. Moving to the central console, we have a very big screen here, which is 16-inch, and it has this very distinctive design from Xiaomi. So it's basically running Xiaomi OS, because they have them, they run them on their phones as well. So actually, what you can do, you can swap positions, and you can do a lot of stuff. So you can make one of these larger. So this is a very, very good and very responsive system here. It's a little bit slightly different than the other systems, but this car is running on Xiaomi Hyper OS. And so the screen is very responsive. And also, it's very interesting that what they did here is moving to this central section here. They add actually you can adjust your fan speed here through here, and your temperature, your AC temperature through here. I think they had a lot of space here, and they don't want to put physical buttons like far away, so they just integrated them here. And the start-stop button, I don't think it's very useful, because basically, even without pushing the start button, you can just put the car on gear. We'll just demonstrate. So without pushing this, if I put the car, just touching the brake, the car will start. And you don't have to use this button at all. What we have here also, this is actually the key. It's a card that you need to swap before opening the door. And this is your 2 wireless chargers. We have 2 cup holders here in the middle, a very decent size. And we have a storage compartment here at the middle. The storage compartment actually doesn't have any charging ports inside. Right here at the back, as you can see, I think this is the downside of having such a car like this. I think the headroom is okay, it's fine, but what I think is not okay is that the seats are really close to the floor, which makes your legs, actually your under thigh, hanging all the time, which is not very comfortable, especially if you drive for long distances. The good thing about electric cars is that they have a flat floor, so because there's no exhaust, no drive shaft going through a tunnel. In the central console here, we have you have control for your AC, and also we have 2 USB-C chargers here. and the seats don't have even, rear pockets. Not sure why. And if you see here, actually these are for, you can buy a Xiaomi tablet which you can place here, and but basically you cannot put something different than Xiaomi, so it's specifically for Xiaomi tablets. The other distinctive feature here inside is the panoramic roof that starts from the front of the car all the way, as you can see, to the back here, and it's very long, panoramic roof. It's blocking most of the sunlight, but I still think having a panoramic roof without being able to close, cover it or shade it, it's gonna always give you more heat. There is some heat that will I can touch the panoramic roof now, and I can feel the heat. I'm sure it's blocking most of it, but still some of the heat will come through. Right, so the first thing you notice once you start driving this car is, like I said, the first thing is the sitting position, which is really good. And the second thing is the suspension on this car. It's not the softest. So actually it's a bit harsh. This car, this particular trim doesn't come with adaptive, suspension. So it's a little bit harsh, so you notice straight away. And also the rebound from the suspension is quite fast. So the suspension will react to the imperfection on the road like all the time. So you feel the ride is a little bit bumpy. Not to the point where it's not bearable, but it's just the way this car was designed for as a sport car. The other thing is the visibility. I think it's very, very good. So we have the pillars here are really thin, so they don't bother you. The position of the mirror here, which is slightly out, a little bit further from the car, which gives you a good visibility on the rear. Driving, you have actually, that doesn't have too many modes in terms of driving modes, so we only have actually three different modes. So we have the comfort mode and as well as the sport mode, and then you have two individual modes that you can set up to your preference. Right now I'm in comfort mode, and actually the pedal is very responsive, very sensitive. I'm sure if you put it into sport mode, it will be even more. So in terms of power, this car is not like crazy powerful like the other electric cars. So it has around 300 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. Keep in mind this car is around 2.2 tons of weight. So it's not it's not the heaviest, but it's not light either. But I think that the thing that distinguishes this car is the design from the outside is very aerodynamic, and also because it's sitting very low, so it's giving it that sportiness, and makes it very very desirable. Right. So with all that being said, I think the first thing I want to do right now is take the car to the usual racing circuit we go. Before it starts raining. Right now it's not raining, but I'm just afraid if I go a little bit later, it's gonna start raining, and then because this is a rear-wheel drive, it's gonna make it really hard to do a lap time. So first thing first, we're gonna go there first, do the lap time, and from there we're gonna do the charging test as well as range test and the 0 to 100 accelerations. Right, so on the way to the racing circuit, but as you can see on the horizon, it might be really raining. Hopefully it's not gonna be raining because, like I mentioned earlier, this car is the base model, so it's a rear-wheel drive with some rain and the electric power response, which is very fast. It's gonna be really hard to do a lap time. So hopefully, it's not gonna rain, but we will see once we get there. By the way, this car actually, like I mentioned earlier, comes in three different trims. This is being the base, which is rear-wheel drive, but you also have the top one is called the SU7 Max, which has a 4-wheel drive, and actually it has pretty good power, which is around 675 horsepower of power and around 750 newton meters of torque. And that car actually does 0 to 100 in 2.8 seconds, which is very impressive, very fast compared to this one. So we made it, we're here, but it's gonna start raining pretty soon. As you see, the storm is coming towards us, so I'm gonna get ready, put my helmet on and try to do a lap time before it starts to rain. To feel how the car is driving around the track. I cannot afford to do more tests because of you know, the rain. I think the storm is coming, but I think the handling of this car is good. You know, the steering is really good. Suspension not the best, but still handles well. The only issue I think is the brakes, and actually there was a lot of a lot of complaints before. A lot of people that had these cars on racing track that complained about the brakes. Some people even crashed just because of the brakes. And I understand what it's coming from is because the car gives you an impression it's a sports car, but actually the brakes are not that well. For this price range, don't expect to get a very good brakes. I think that's where the problem is coming from. So the brakes would be the issue. So I'm gonna do a few laps and we'll see how that goes.
Lap 1256 seconds 17. Lap 1356 seconds 16.
I'ma send you to your mama. It's the whip, quick clip, get the guns out.
Right, so I was just watching the reply and seeing the result. As you saw the video, the time wasn't that great, so it was 56:16. That was the best time, and I couldn't go faster. And like I mentioned earlier, before even starting doing a lap time, the problem was the brakes, I think. And also there's another thing, is the traction control actually cutting a lot of power, especially when after you exit the corner. So it cuts a lot of power, and I cannot afford to to turn off the traction control, is because the circuit is really small. It's very narrow, and this is not my car, so I cannot take the risk of turning off. So I just put it on sport, sport mode, which still was interacting with the car and cutting power. But I think the big issue is not the traction control, but the brakes themselves. All right, so let's go now and do a charging test, as well as preparing the car for the range test, which we're gonna do tonight. Ready to start charging and test the car, how fast this car can charge actually. So the battery is down. We are back from the circuit, and we are down to 31%. We are here at the Expo supercharger here. This is a 360 kilowatt charger. Let's see how fast this car will charge. So I'm gonna plug it in and we're gonna start charging. The good thing is it's raining, but Xiaomi has actually this it acts like a cover after it opens, so it's really useful. So we're charged at 90%. So basically I went away to eat something, get something to eat, and I haven't even finished. I saw that the battery reached 90%. I have a screenshot just when I stopped the charging. I'll show you in a minute on my phone. As you can see here, I took the screenshot around 17:25. So we start charging. If you watch the screen when we start charging, the time was showing it was 16:58. So so it took less than half hour to charge from 31% to 90%. Let me just show you the charging speed, how it went. So we have the graph here, start at 170 and almost 75, and then it started to drop. So by 60% we were down to 140 less actually kilowatts of charging speed, and then by 80% we were down to around 70, 75, and then just around 90 it dropped to around 40 kilowatts of speed. All right, so the battery is charged. The next step is to perform our range test. Right, so ready to do the acceleration test from 0 to 100. My phone is ready here, and the battery state of charge is 80%, which should give us the best performance. And let's put the car into launch control, which is at the bottom here. So you have the instructions here on how to do it. It says you have to put the car into sport mode, which is already activated, and then brake pedal, then acceleration, and then you release the brake pedal.
Kilometers.
So there you have it, the SU7 rear-wheel drive, 5.18 seconds 0 to 100. The claimed number from the factory is 5.3, so this is better than the claimed number from the factory. Just finished charging, so as you can see the state of charge of the battery is 95%. The CLTC range here, it's showing 665, and we are 95% of battery state of charge. Today what we're gonna do is to avoid all the the elevation issues, and so just to get a closer, a more accurate range test, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this highway here, which is the G15, and then change to this highway, and I will take a different highway here, which will take me eastwards across the whole city up to here, then switch to a different highway, which is the S3, and then take direction to north direction, and then from here the S3 I will go back again to the G15, which will take me down here, and as you can see here the G15, and I will go back to my position. So basically to avoid elevations issue and everything, so I'm gonna start from here and I will end up my test in the same location. The trip around the whole thing is gonna be around 200 kilometers. So another thing, let me reset the meter. So we'll go here, so we'll use the trip 1 here as our indicator. Okay, it's reset to 0, and so this is the number of kilometers, this is the number of kilowatts used, kilowatts hours used during the trip,
and yeah, that should give us, you know, an exact, and this will be the consumption, the average consumption. All right, with that being said, let's get started with this test. Another thing I want to do before we start the test is the car has only two different driving modes. So basically we have the comfort and sport. The comfort, as you can see here on the graph, it gives you a lot of actually very sensitive accelerator pedal. So it's not really like eco mode. So instead, I tuned this, I set this custom mode profile to be sorry, this one, as you can see. So if we check here, this is actually the the acceleration pedal sensitivity. So I put it at the lowest. That will not increase the, so just like you have in an eco mode. The rest, this is for the steering wheel, so it's at its lightest, or we can put it on the middle. The rest this is for traction control and everything. So we just set it here, and we will use this mode to drive the car, so we give us a more realistic consumption. Right as we start the trip, so as you can see here, everything is turned back to zero. We're using AC because it's hot outside, so temperature outside is around 28 to 30 degrees, but it's humid. We had a lot of rain today, but hopefully it's not going to rain again, so that will give us a more accurate test. The air conditioning is at 23 degrees, and yeah, so this will be a more realistic range test. Let's hit the 50 kilometer mark, 51 actually, and as you can see on the screen here, the last column, you can see the consumption is at 13.5 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers, and actually we've used 6.9 kilowatts since we started this test. Battery level is down to 86%, as you can see on the top here. Right now I'm on this highway, and it's the speed limit here is around 100. There's exceptions sometimes. The rule here is if the limit is 100, every time you enter a tunnel, you have to reduce your speed to 80, and if the highway is limited, the speed is limited at 120, then if you enter a tunnel, you have to drop the speed to 100 kilometers per hour. But right now on this one, so basically there is different highways, different limits, but overall I think we will end up with the average speed of more than 100 kilometers. But we will see that, because actually we can track the time here on the top. As you can see here, we've been driving for 40 minutes and we've done 53 kilometers. Right, so let's see. Right now the consumption looks really promising. 13.5 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. Let's continue and see what will be the consumption after halfway 100 kilometer mark. Okay, so we hit the 100 mark here. As you can see, 101 kilometers. We probably almost on the way back right now, so we have a few kilometers before I turn towards back to my destination, so which is roughly halfway. And as you can see, the consumption is still very consistent, 13.5 kilowatts hour per 100 kilometers. And as you can see, the car have used 13.9 kilowatts hour of power in the 100 kilometers. So very close the number. So used 13.9 and the average consumption is 13.5. So very, very consistent. Right here on this highway, the speed limit still at 100. Actually, I was driving at 120 earlier before I changed to this highway, but I will be changing to a different highway in around 3.5 kilometers, and from there almost all the way. I think it's gonna be 120 kilometers. Right, as you can see, as the speed limit here is a 120, so I've been driving like this for the last 50 kilometers. I'm less than 50, but as you can see here, the consumption as we increase the speed went from 13.6 to 14.1, and we're about to switch to a different highway within 1 kilometer. So, and the next highway has a speed limit of 100 kilometers, and that will be till the end of the test. So we're back here at our departure point, which was here at the supercharger, and we have done actually not 200 kilometers but 180 kilometers, and the car used during this 180 kilometers 25.4 kilowatt hour, and the average consumption is 14 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. And as you can see here, let's go to the battery is down to 61. This is the result, and actually the consumption is very impressive, you know, considering that this car is 2.2 ton and it's, you know, 5 meters long and 3 meters long wheelbase. I think the efficiency on this car is really good, and it's because of the design, the aerodynamic of the car, that allows it to, you know, to achieve this kind of numbers. And yeah, so we've done that in 2 hours and 5 minutes, I think. I had lost sometimes coming down from the highway at the toll gate. I think I lost there at least 5 minutes of time. So the whole trip took around 2 hours. So if you consider, you know, the time that it took me, you know, to go from here to the highway, which is 3 kilometers, and coming back, so that's around 6-7 kilometers, not on the highway with some traffic lights. So probably the average speed was around 100 kilometers, and actually I cannot go beyond that because I have to respect, you know, the speed limit on the highway. So yeah, so here you have it. Xiaomi SU7 efficiency, it's 14 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers, which is very impressive. Right, so while I'm sitting here in the traffic, let me give you a recapitulation of the Xiaomi SU7. So in terms of range, I think this car is very efficient. You can go 550 kilometers on a single charge, being the basic model with a 74 kilowatt hour battery, but again with a single motor, makes it very efficient actually. So in terms of a lot of people actually were complaining about quality, and I think the quality is pretty good. I'm pretty sure the quality is even higher on the on the higher trims when you go to the Max. And for the money you're paying for this car here right now, actually here in China it costs around 29,000 US dollar. The car looks really good. I would say in terms of performance on the track, it's not what I expected. It's still like it did the same time. I think it did a better time than the Neo ET5T, which has a dual, which has a dual motor. So that car has more power, but this car actually handles better. It only has the issue with the brakes. But I'm pretty sure, like Xiaomi, actually they announcing another another trim, which is called Ultra, which they will release maybe late this year, maybe next year. But keep in mind, this is their own first. This is the first car they built, and this is the first model. So I'm pretty sure they will correct all the issues, and will make it better for the next generation, which maybe is gonna be out next year. And remember, these cars actually they're out of stock, and they're sold for the whole year of 2024. So unless someone bought few of them and they'll be selling them on the second-hand market, you cannot buy directly from, or you have to wait. So this is my final take on the car. I think this car is very efficient. It looks good. I mean, this is targeted for a young generation, young people, where it has this sporty look. I think the best thing on this car will be the look itself. It looks very dynamic, and I think the fact that it is a sport car, it's very low on the road, it's very stable. And also what I love about this car is the driving position, as well as the steering wheel response and precision. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and give a video a thumbs up. If you like what we do on our channel, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be doing more videos in the coming weeks. I'll see you on the next one.